know why it took me so long to film this video. I'm kind of nervous. I don't know why. If you're new here, hi, my name is Camila. I took a gap year and spent 8 months in Israel. And today I'm going to be talking about my experience through that. First of all, if you don't know, a gap year is the year you can take after high school before college. You can still apply to schools your senior year and get into school you like and commit to it. You just tell them, I'm going to defer for either a quarter semester or a year. Most people like to do it after high school as a little break before college. And before I start talking about everything I went through, I just want to say that I 100,000,000,000% recommend taking a gap year. I think it's a great opportunity to learn about yourself, to make mistakes, to learn how to be alone before you're in college and before it matters. So I'm going to be talking about everything I learned, all the mistakes I did and all of that. So it's going to sound like I had a horrible time. Overall, I had a good time and I'm happy that I know all these things and that I get a second chance in college to apply all these things that I learned. So I joined a program that brings together people from all over the world around my age to Israel. We live together in apartments, travel, take classes, do internships, do activities together, all that stuff. I was really excited to join that program. It was basically everything that I wanted. The way it worked is that there was one side in Tel Aviv, one side in Jerusalem, and then you switch the second semester. We all got there September 1st, had a quarantine for 2 weeks, had 3 days out and about, which I actually vlogged and you can see, and then about, I guess, a month of lockdown. So then if you saw my second vlog in Israel, I said my program and I went our separate ways. Basically, my program kept going the way it was going and I was no longer allowed to go that way. That's how we separated. Let me explain. After that month of lockdown, like right after, was my 18th birthday. And I was planning on throwing a party, and there were still really strict restrictions. So this made it really hard for me to do what I had planned, which was to get an Airbnb and throw a party. And so I found a guy that would open up his back alley club situation for me and my guests. I had to like plan the whole thing in like less than 24 hours. It was like a disaster, but I did it and it was a great party. I had a list of between like 67 people to like 80 people, I think it ended up being. And it was like a great time. I really don't want to talk that much about the party. Things start to get a little bit suspicious because there have been some posts about the party that the program found. I start getting questioned. I'm in a kibbutz, which basically is the middle of nowhere, farming. I'm getting questioned and I'm like starting to freak out, and I end up getting kicked off the program. This is the story that a lot of my friends that are probably watching from my gap year know of, and it's just became funny after. But I really want to talk about what I realized from that afterwards and kind of like talk about this program that I was really on. Also, I just want to say that I'm not like a complete idiot, you know? Like all the people that I was inviting to my party, we were already together either way. And we weren't like exposing ourselves to new people. I took a COVID test before the party. Like I was sure that I was okay. We weren't seeing elderlies or kids or anything like that. We were just with our program and we were like having parties regardless, like every other weekend. This was just the first time like it being at a club basically. So first I want to say I made up a story. It wasn't a full lie, but it was a lie. I said that after the restrictions came out, my family friends wanted to give me an opportunity to like have fun and celebrate my birthday, so they opened up their bar for me and like let me and my roommates come and like a couple more friends. So we were like, I said there were 8 of us there, and then other people found out and started coming. Like the whole story was like, I had a really elaborate story. I'm not gonna get into it. I got questioned like so many different times and there was just so much into it, but this is the story that my program used to kick me off. And I think that's really messed up. I mean, morally, like what I did was wrong and like I do deserve to have gotten kicked off. Just the fact that this was like the story we agreed on, that they believed, and they still decided to kick me off. I don't want to say the name of the program, I don't want to say the name of people, just like, you know, to not be like that shady, but I am gonna be pretty shady because what they did was not cool. What I did was not cool, but I'm taking responsibility for it. Other things happened in the program as well, like they weren't that organized and they lacked empathy towards the students and the participants. So it was just really clear that this program just cared about the money. But from the beginning, from the very first few days when they kicked off people for no reason, the first few days, and sent them home, I talked to the head of the program. She had to question me for a little bit and then talk with other people and make a decision about what my consequences were, and then talk to me again and tell me what my consequences were. So she told me herself, like, I need to look serious, like I need new kids to come next semester. And then I had to step outside and they had to talk. I just heard them laughing the entire time. And I came back and yeah, she was like, go pack your things, be out tomorrow morning. Right after I told her I have no family there. And not only that, but she didn't tell my parents at any point of what happened. And this was like the afternoon, my parents were sleeping here. I was literally like stranded. Like that's what it felt like. It was a horrible way that she handled it. Like I had just turned 18 years old and I was living by myself for the first time. So that was really, really hard for me to go through and figure out what I needed to do next. I was not gonna come home because that was like a huge like failure for me to do that. Like this is just something I'm able to realize now after I reflected so much on everything that happened. When I was there, getting kicked off was like the funny thing, just because like I came back so fast and acted like I was all cool. Getting kicked off was a funny thing, but realistically, like it crushed me and it affected the rest of my gap year, unfortunately. I don't really like to open up that much on camera, but I guess this is like really important things to learn, and I think it's good for me to share this stuff online. But I was going through a really, really hard time, like especially those few weeks after getting kicked off. Thankfully, other people in the program that worked there weren't that horrible and let me stay in my apartment for longer, gave me time to like figure things out, helped me find an apartment. When things go wrong for me, like I really try to like fix it and like move on and do the next thing. I was like, okay, I need to find an apartment, I need to find health insurance, I need to find a bank account, like phone plan, a new internship, like all this stuff. Like I was like, go, 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 go. Like I'm not gonna make this like ruin my year. I never stopped for a second to like think about the way I was feeling and how much this affected me and what this like meant. Like my parents were extremely disappointed in me. My whole family, everyone that knew back home like what I want to do was disappointed in me. I felt like completely like abandoned and like literally felt like I was being treated like a piece of trash. And I was terrified. Like I knew in the back of my mind, I knew that my friends and everyone I was with in the program that became my new home, they were going to continue being in the program and becoming friends and creating memories and getting closer together, and I was going to be alone. And that was killing me. Of course I didn't show that. I was like in interviews, like house hunting, like all this stuff, instead of like sitting down and like thinking about what had just happened. I remember like I couldn't sleep at night. Like one time I was like packing all my stuff really fast and like crying like down my face. I was like screaming on the phone with my parents, and like my roommates were like terrified. And at the end of the day, I did figure everything out. I got an apartment, as you saw in my second vlog. I was in Central Tel Aviv and everyone was in South Tel Aviv. I was banned from going into their building. Of course I still went into that building, but I just felt really left out and I felt like just a complete failure, honestly. Like, and then came second semester where I joined a new program. You kind of create your own thing. You live in their apartments if you want. You start whenever you want. You end whenever you want. You basically do whatever you want. Unfortunately, I still lacked that like feeling of community that I was missing. I don't know if that program did anything better for me. The program, the idea itself is great. It's just I don't think it's what I needed at the time. My roommates and I weren't really close. Everyone was doing their own thing because people like would come and go in the program, so I had like 10 different roommates. I never was able to get close to any of them. I just really felt like I was living alone again, but with other people, which just made it uncomfortable, and I was really uncomfortable. And on top of that, it was second semester, so it was time for all my friends in Tel Aviv to go to Jerusalem. The people from Jerusalem came to Tel Aviv and I got to know them, but I obviously wasn't able to get that close to anyone because they had already been together the whole time and they were doing multiple activities together every single day while I was like new to their life and like not doing anything that they're doing. Thankfully, my two best guy friends stayed in Tel Aviv and joined my program and lived in their own apartment, so I was spending a lot of time with them. They were like my closest friends and like the comfort that I needed, but of course that's also a complicated dynamic since they're boys, I'm a girl, we don't do the same things. They were roommates, I wasn't their roommate. At the end of the day, like I needed to have my own things, but I couldn't find those things. What I really wish is that my time alone, I had so much time alone, the whole time I was just thinking, when's the next time I'm gonna be with people? When's the next time I'm gonna have fun? That's all I was worried about, instead of like sitting down and analyzing what I'm going through and what I'm learning and what I'm doing on my gap year. And I think I would have made so many better decisions if I would have stopped to think about what I'm doing and how I'm feeling. I never thought about how am I feeling. My alone time, turn it into positive instead of turning it into loneliness, which is what I did. Then Israel got vaccinated, like the first country to be fully vaccinated, and everything was fully open from like 0 to 100. It was just such a shock, and people would say like that's better for me because I had more things to do now, but in reality there were just more distractions. I was going out, there was not a single event that was happening that I wasn't there, because that's just all I wanted to do, was to be with people and to do things that are interesting and fun and cool, because I thought that would make me happy. I was doing an internship, but I got promoted. I wasn't doing much anymore. I wasn't doing internship work. I was doing projects here and there, and I didn't feel like I was accomplishing anything. And so that made me really insecure about myself, which I never really experienced, but I was just insecure about the person that I was, and you could see it in me. Like I was just acting out of an insecure place. I was getting way more offended over things. My skin was breaking out. Like I was not having it, and I could not see that. That's like the main thing I'm trying to get through. Like stop for a minute, reflect on what you're doing at all times, not only in college and stuff like that, but like just in life. Like think about how you're feeling. You know, being away from your parents for the first time is not an easy thing, and you do a lot of stupid stuff when you get that first like taste of freedom. But what I didn't know I was gonna go through was feeling uncomfortable with just myself. And now I'm really glad that I was able to reflect on my year and learn that, and I'm really taking this summer to fix that. I don't want to get too much into it, but I'm fixing that, and I know that's something that needs to be really perfected for college and for living alone, basically. So learn from my mistakes, try to not be so out of touch from reality your first time being alone, and take a gap year. If you're thinking of joining a program in Israel and you want to hear the program that I went to and the other programs that I know of, DM me. I have people that have found out which program I separated ways with, and asked me what was happening. I'm more than open to talking about it. So yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. There's definitely so many more videos that I can do, and if you want them, let me know. I'd be more than happy to. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. I love you so much. Stay true to yourself, and I'll see you next time. Bye.